The top 14 is the best club rugby competition in the world, folks. I don't think that's a particularly controversial statement. I know you like whichever competition your own team plays in. You all have your favourites. But if we're looking at things in terms of measurable metrics, top 14 seems to be pretty far above everybody else. I do want to talk about some results recently because there was another Champions Cup victory going to a French club just this weekend gone. But I mean, all the other factors, which I'm not going to really delve into in this video in terms of like the attendances, the revenue, the TV deal, the depth of the squads, the playing salaries and all that whatnot, the top 14 measures up pretty well against everybody else. And it seems to be a competition which goes deep in terms of not just being one or two teams, which are the kind of constant teams getting their hands on trophies. We'll go through some stuff. I want to tie in Super Rugby at the end. Super Rugby is a little tough to tie in at the moment because we don't see any direct competition between the Super Rugby teams and the Premiership Top 14 and URC. But we can touch on that and then talk about what's going to happen in 2028 as well. Champions Cup, 6 in a row. And it's not just one team, it's 3 different teams. It's Bordeaux with 2, La Rochelle with 2, and Toulouse with 2. So it's, as I said, it's not just one big French team. They have depth in the French competition. Bordeaux is not even the top team in the top 14 at the moment. They were like 4th or 5th going into their final against Leinster and still won the final pretty comfortably. La Rochelle also has a lost final in the last 6 years as well. So they have been ever present, even if La Rochelle's fallen off a little bit in the kind of recent couple of years. How does that stack up against the other competitions? Well, the URC, the guys flying the flag for the competition is Leinster. They've been in 4 finals. They're clearly one of the best teams in Europe. You don't make 4 finals in a row by accident. Not in a row. You don't make 4 finals in 6 years by accident. They did have 3 in a row, which they lost. But they haven't managed to get over the line to get that next star on their jersey, despite a very, a squad that runs very deep, stock full of Irish internationals and the odd kind of, All Black and Geordie Barrett or Rico Ioane or, Achis Name and all that kind of thing in addition to the squad. Rabah Slimani and whatnot. They've got a very good squad, one of the best teams in Europe, as I said, but they've not been able to crack a final. And interestingly for the URC, they are the only team in the URC to have even made a semi-final in the Champions Cup in the last 6 years. That's a little bit, you can talk about where coaches place their priorities. Do they prioritize the URC? Do they prioritize Europe and that kind of thing? But the results are what they are, and it's been only Leinster for the URC. For the Premiership, it's a bit more of a mixed bag because you have had Northampton in a final, but you have had other teams, the likes of Exeter, Harlequins and Bath, who've also made semi-finals. Those teams seem to have a bit more fluctuation anyway than what we've seen from the URC sides. And if we're talking about the French depth, like of the last 6 Champions Cup seasons, that leaves spots for 24 semi-finalists. 13 of them have been French. So some of these are the champions, but you've also had Racing 92 in the mix. You have also had Toulon in the mix as well. So it goes beyond 1, 2, 3, 4. We're talking at least 5 clubs in the last 6 years that have been right at that cutting edge of European rugby. And even if you take it to a level below, when you're talking about the Challenge Cup, the kind of second tier cup competition, they've won 4 of the last 6 as well. You've had 1 win for the Sharks and 1 win for Bath. But Montpellier has got a couple. Lyon and Toulon have also had Challenge Cup success. And people tell me the French clubs a lot of the time don't even take either competition that seriously because they want to focus on the top 14. Again, each team will be different, have their own priorities. But goodness me, if we haven't seen some French success in recent years. How does that tie into Super Rugby? Because I often see there's a debate between people, URC, Super Rugby. I think it's because there's a South African connection between both. South Africans used to play in one, now they play on the other. Which one's better? Well, it doesn't really matter that much because the top 14 seems to be where it's at. But Super Rugby, we genuinely don't know how they would compare at the moment. The most recent evidence we have would be right before the South African teams left Super Rugby, kicked out, whichever way you want to put it. And then when they started in the URC, they were not winning. If you want to look at it from a Super Rugby positive perspective, they were not winning Super Rugby, the South African teams, and then first season the URC went and won it with the Stormers. So you could argue, hey, URC must be a lower level because a team which wasn't making finals goes and wins. But then again, I think the most recent match we have between a URC team and a Super Rugby team is like Munster against the Crusaders in 2024. Both sides were a bit B-teamish because all the internationals were away, and Munster pipped them on that one. I think it was played up in Europe, so maybe that means the Super Rugby teams were a couple below. We genuinely don't know. You can speculate, you can say based on the finances, based on the exodus of players, or whatever you like, that Super Rugby teams would get hammered. Some of them probably would. I like to think some of them would be competitive. But hopefully we find out in 2028 because they do have that Club Rugby World Cup competition on the cards. So we will get to see not just Super Rugby teams, but also Japanese League One teams as well to see how they will go at international level. But as I said, the French teams are doing very well. It seems like a fantastic competition at the moment. Long may it continue. But it might be nice to see someone else win the Champions Cup for a season. I know Lens has been given it a crack. It'd be nice to see another URC team make it into the semis because it's been a long time between drinks. Do you think the Premiership clubs have got the finances to keep up? Obviously, Saracens not that long ago were a big presence in this competition, but there were salary cap issues within the Premiership amongst that. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts. What do you like about your league? Is it just about the money? Have the French has got more money than everybody else? Do you think the support, the playing rosters, because there's a lot of native French talent as well. It's not just imported talent, but yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on where you think the competitions stack up. But for mine, at the moment, the top 14 is pretty clearly results-based. The best comp in the world at the minute. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.